It's 4 o'clock in Jonesboro. We're watching several stories this hour, including a murder that happened at a trailer park 1 week ago and the details surrounding it. It's an incredibly tragic and brutal story as well, and we'll talk about that coming up. Plus, a man's accused of shooting another man's dog in his own backyard, and he said it was an accident. We'll talk about that next. Plus, cash and the questions about whether it's a speed trap or not have been answered, at least officially, by the prosecutor, and they're saying it's not. The numbers are pretty close, so we'll talk about that coming up. Plus, warmer weather could be on the way, and we are really ready to see that. It's time for NEA Report right now.
Now, Stan Morris reporting.
We begin tonight with a story that's graphic, it's gruesome in nature, and we urge caution to everybody that's watching. It's not something that you're probably going to want to have on for the kids. It's a murder that happened 1 week ago today. It happened on Arrowhead Farm Road in Jonesboro. The report of Sean G. Burniston murdering his wife. It came in late that day, and we found out and broke it to you right here in NEA Report. But we had no idea the story was as graphic, as violent, and as gruesome as it was. Here's a photo of the two, the couple on Facebook in happier times, although from what we've learned, maybe not so. Sean G. Burniston and his wife, Jessica, apparently fought all of the time, according to one comment that was made on Facebook that we saw and we found out about after we published this story late yesterday evening. Here's the details as we again caution you to use restraint if you're allowing younger folks to hear this one. It's got some graphic stuff in it. See, Sean G. Burniston, on Thursday, December 28th, allegedly beat his wife to death with a pool cue and axe handle in a trailer home on Arrowhead Farm Road. That's what the probable cause affidavit says, but it's not just that document says that. That's what he reportedly told not only detectives, but emergency personnel at the emergency room. The two were high, he said, and fighting on drugs while he was believing she was cheating on him. He attempted suicide after he bludgeoned her to death, but he couldn't succeed. He was taken to St. Bernard's Medical Center for treatment and then taken to Craighead County Detention Center, where his mugshot was taken, showing him wearing a green suicide vest. In fact, we'll show you that right now. In between when authorities arrived at 1610 Arrowhead Farm Road, trailer 22, to take custody of Burniston, and when he was deposited at the jail, that's when he admitted to them what had happened. The probable cause affidavit details it pretty significantly. He said the two were, quote, high and fighting because, as we said, he believed she was cheating on him. Infidelity. It was during the recorded and Mirandized interview that Burniston fully admitted, according to detectives, to striking the victim multiple times with both a pull cue and an axe handle. Wow. He gave details that match injuries that matched the preliminary coroner's report as well as the preliminary autopsy report done by the Arkansas State Crime Lab. He was quoted as saying, and I'm making an exact quote here, "I just took it too far this time." That's the trailer home where detectives found the bloody crime scene. Several witnesses were on scene when officers arrived. One was with the victim and suspect following the brutality and said Burniston kept saying to her that he had killed his wife and he, quote, just wanted to die too. Another neighbor was located and stated Burniston called him and told him I killed Jessica and that he had cut himself and was dying as well. A third witness, who was assisting the first witness prior to officers arriving, also heard statements from the suspect admitting that he had killed his wife and wanted to die. Jessica Burniston was seen to have severe injuries on her face. Blunt force trauma was believed to be the cause of death. Crime scene investigators actually did not find any other indicating wounds that would suggest some other cause of death. Quote, her facial and head injuries were so severe. At St. Bernard's, while being treated for his attempted suicide, Burniston made unsolicited statements that he had killed his wife with a pull cue and axe handle. He's facing a Class Y felony, a first-degree murder. If found guilty, he faces 10 to 40 years or life in prison. He learned on Tuesday he would be held in Craighead County Detention Center on a $1 million bond. His next court date is February 26th. He's set to appear at 8:30 a.m. in circuit court. But it wasn't the first time authorities had been to the scene. That's what's so unusual about this. In fact, the day before the murder took place, Sean G. Burniston, was in court on earlier charges. On November 14th, the Jonesboro Sun reported that officers responded to the residence that you're looking at, but for a different reason, a residential burglary in process. Sean was the caller, and he told officers that several in black ski masks were trying to force his front door open with a pry bar. But the officers found absolutely no evidence of that whatsoever. In fact, whenever they got inside, the only crimes that they found an evidence of was a razor blade with what was suspected to be cocaine on it. Berniston actually told them that was one of his blades, and it tested positive for cocaine. He was arrested for felony drug paraphernalia possession, but officers noticed he had bloody spots on his legs where he'd been picking off scabs, and he was having hallucinations of people who weren't there while the officers were on the scene. He was actually in court for that one day before he allegedly murdered his wife. That incident, now the least of Berniston's worries. It's 4:06 in Jonesboro, and there's breaking news to bring along to you right now. We're actually seeing details of this coming in from KAIT. Good reporting by them this afternoon on this one. A Jonesboro school bus being evacuated around Highland Drive and Rain Street after some type of mechanical issue, some type of malfunction that ended up leading to the bus filling full of smoke. And again, this is a report coming in from Region 8 News. It looks like that they're on top of this one, and as a matter of fact, they have a crew, I think, on the scene. The students were safely evacuated, loaded into another bus, K8's reporting, and hopefully no other issues there. I believe it was the bus 8-8-44. That's what the report there from the Region 8 News says. So that was just coming in a short time ago. I know a lot of folks are going to be in their cars right now picking up kids and whatnot. Just want to let everybody know about that story as it's coming in here. Literally breaking news happening as we are coming at you live. Well, let's talk about another story right now, shall we? Let's talk about sales taxes in Craighead County, and specifically how that they looked for last year compared to the year before. There is a story here that you might miss if you're not paying attention to the numbers, because growth has slowed from what it had been previously. In fact, we talked yesterday with Bill Campbell from the city of Jonesboro about this exact topic, and Bill mentioned, he did say that forecasters had accounted for that growth to slow. It slowed to a 3.1% increase from 2016 for the county as a whole. That's the top number, 19.989 million collected in 2017. For Jonesboro, it was 17.83 million collected in 2017. That's a 2.9% increase from the previous year. Those numbers sound good, right? They're growth numbers, they're increases, that's good. Well, actually, in the years prior, growth had been closer to 5%, sometimes even a little bit more. So the growth has begun to diminish a little bit. What does that mean? It just means that projects have to be taken into account. Forecasting and budgeting for the following year has to be a little bit more reserved. You can't exactly budget and forecast for money that's not going to be coming in. As we learned yesterday from Bill Campbell, the city of Jonesboro has been planning ahead for this, and it's not going to be a big surprise to anybody there. At least that's the hope. A man is facing an animal cruelty charge after he allegedly shot his neighbor's dog while the dog was in his yard, the neighbor's yard that's accused of the act. It was reported yesterday afternoon in Craighead County around 1:50 p.m. Deputy Robert Sharp with the Craighead County Sheriff's Office was dispatched to Craighead Road 339. He met with the dog's owner, Terry Oswald, 36, and the man believed to have shot the dog, Christopher Sawyer, 33. The two lived near each other on the road. Oswald said Sawyer shot the dog in Sawyer's own backyard, but the man accused of that said he didn't shoot the dog on purpose, but he said he did fire in the direction of the dog. Both of the men took the dog to the vet to receive medical care, and Sawyer said he would pay for the dog's medical care, according to the incident report filed with the Craighead County Sheriff's Office. Sawyer was also cited to district court for cruelty to animals, and he's set to appear next on January 16th. I'll get back to it in a minute. More news coming up here on NEA Report after the break. Thanks a lot, everybody, for joining us today. By the way, before we go to break, if you haven't had a chance to, we would love you if you liked us and maybe even gave us a share, okay? News is going to continue in just a couple of seconds.
Family Medical Clinic of Walnut Ridge and Bono are your neighborhood healthcare providers, and we're now accepting new patients. We know you have a tight schedule, so we're here 6 days a week at both locations from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Walk-ins are welcome. In Walnut Ridge, stop by 1045 West Main Street or call us to make an appointment, 886-8300. In Bono, we're on Highway 63 North or call 930-9990. Walnut Ridge Family Medical Clinic and Bono Family Medical Clinic. Here for you when you need us.
If you're setting up your advertising budget for 2018, call us and talk to us. We can help you out more than anybody else in Northeast Arkansas, as we'll go to work for you here at NEA Report. Advertise with us. Reach thousands of readers and viewers each and every day. We have thousands of readers on our website reading our text articles, and every single day here on our newscast, we have thousands of viewers as well. We reach more people online and on social media than any other outlet in Northeast Arkansas. Contact Nicole at 870-897-9272 for more, or you can email her at nicole@neareport.com for more information. Advertise your business with news from Northeast Arkansas. That's NEA Report. Cache, Arkansas is not a speed trap. That's the determination that was made by Chief Deputy Prosecutor Grant DePro. We received information about the release yesterday, and we found out, well, that the community may have been writing a lot of tickets, but they didn't write over what the legal limit is. An accounting error actually had indicated Cache was over the limit that was reported there. The city of Cache had some confusion there after a legislative audit that indicated an excess of 30% of the municipality's total expenditures was being written as fines and costs and traffic offenses. See, 30% is the limit. And for the small community that just has a few hundred people in it, well, over 620 on average tickets were being written each year. With an average of 300 people living there, those numbers get kind of close. However, Cache is one of those communities you have to travel through, especially to and from Jonesboro on the way to Little Rock or other communities that are larger to the south in Arkansas. DePro said the reason that the legislative audit found some errors was because other sources had been deposited into the same accounts that these fines and costs were being deposited in, which confused the auditors. According to DePro, other items that were deposited into the account included non-traffic offenses and fines like domestic violence charges, drug arrests, non-traffic city ordinance violations, and DWIs. Even an appropriation for district court equipment purchasing and maintenance was made into the account, or at least that's what was believed. Now, whenever the audit was complete, it did show overall that Cache was over the numbers. But after DePro went back through it, he calculated these as the actual amount of fines and costs as a percentage, that 30% limit, remember? Well, in 2014, it was only 7%. In 2015, it was 17%. And in 2016, which is the last year available presently, it was 22%. That's significant, but it's still not 30%. DePro's letter said he accounted for, quote, significant highway improvements through Cache in 2016 and the increased traffic flow. Not really sure what that means as far as accounting for that goes. But he did recommend that the community or the municipality modify its accounting procedures to distinguish between traffic and non-traffic fines. That way, future auditors would have a clearer picture of compliance with speed trap laws, then hopefully avoiding any appearance of impropriety by the city and the police department. Another rule the municipality has to agree to is that no more than half of tickets written are to be to drivers going less than 10 miles per hour over the limit. How about that? A lot of folks didn't know that was a law. But get this, only 30 out of 1,869 were written over 3 years for people going less than 10 miles per hour over the limit. Something tells me those people were being pretty rude to the officers that night. That's 1.6% of all tickets written. Still, just got to point out, for a 3-year period, an average of 1,869 traffic tickets comes out to about 623 a year. The population of Cache, Arkansas, according to data from the U.S. Census Bureau via Google, is 364. Extremely Extremely cold temperatures across northeast Arkansas and in Jonesboro. To say the least, it's a very cold week here in Jonesboro. But here's the good news. There is a warm-up trend that's on the way for next week, so we may be getting a little bit of relief, but it's not before we go through several more days of this, unfortunately. We'll talk about that next in your New Wave Wireless forecast as we're showing you a picture right now of a frozen fountain. It's over there at the Marionberry Parkway intersection there at Arkansas State University. Really, the water that's spraying up out of the fountain is the only thing that's not frozen there. It's pretty much all ice from that point forward. Here's your New Wave Wireless forecast. Home of the $49 iPhone screen repair. Tonight, mostly clear and a low of about 17 degrees. Then on Friday, hey, it's here. Sunny with a high near 38. Friday night, partly cloudy and a low around 18. Then Saturday, sunny with a high near 33. Looks like it's actually a slight bit warmer in the forecast than we have on the screen there. The Weather Service changing it there on us a little bit late this afternoon. Now, it's down to 26 on Saturday night with partly cloudy skies. Looks like on Sunday, a slight chance of freezing rain to show up before 10 a.m., and then a slight chance of rain or freezing rain between 10 and 1. Rain is all that's likely after 1 p.m. Cloudy with a high near 43. The high revised to be down a little bit more than we were looking at it yesterday. Sunday night, rain with a low around 39 and a chance for that 100%. We're also looking at winds out of the south about 10 miles per hour becoming east-northeast after midnight. On Monday, more rainfall possible before 7 a.m. with a high near 46. After that, should be a mostly cloudy day. Partly cloudy Monday night. The low drops down to about 31. Then the precipitation is out of here. About 16 minutes after the hour now. Glad you're with us on NEA Report for some live streaming fun and the news only brought to you on Facebook from us here in Northeast Arkansas. Let's talk about dicamba. Have we talked about that one before? I think we did with George Jared. And if you've not heard, there was a decision that came down yesterday in relation to dicamba. It was essentially the state board, Arkansas Plant Board, doubling down and deciding to go forward with the ban on dicamba. The vote Wednesday was actually specifically set the April 15th cutoff date and basically reaffirmed it, because the board had been asked to reconsider that date. In November, the board proposed a ban on the use of dicamba after close to 1,000 Arkansas farmers filed formal complaints because the Monsanto-produced weed killer applied on farms planted with dicamba-resistant strains of crops was kind of flying over to other neighboring farms and fields and giving them a whole lot of trouble for those who didn't have the resistant strains of the plants, right? Oh, right, the background playing. There we go. Okay. Last month, the state legislature refused to give the approval and actually asked the plant board to reconsider some of the details in the ban. Well, I guess they've done that now. It's set to be banned, or at least the ban is set to last, let me see here, through, I believe, October. So that's going to make it very difficult for those who wish to use that to have any opportunity for doing so. Stand by for just a second. I have a breaking news story that I was going to mention to you. We didn't have time to get a graphic made for it, but it came down a little bit late in the day. It was a breaking news story slightly out of our viewership area, or our northeast of Arkansas, but it was in Brinkley, which is kind of close, somewhat close at least. Officers there investigating a shooting that was fatal. A deadly shooting that happened at 7:15 a.m. this morning. They responded to the Pinewood Apartments there in Brinkley, where I'm sure none of us would know where they're at, where they found 4 adult victims who had sustained gunshot wounds. A 33-year-old man, Xavier Parrish, was dead at the scene. 2 others shot, transported to area hospitals, 1 treated at the scene for non-life-threatening injuries. A man was arrested for this. His name is James Frost of Brinkley. He was taken into custody by the Brinkley Police Department in connection with the shootings. Arkansas State Police are also assisting with that, as obviously that's just a situation that's very wild. In Cleburne County, another story that's just coming in late breaking today. I'm going to have to turn my phone sideways to read this one because of the strange formatting in the email of circa 1990. On December 27th, around 5:30, the Cleburne County Sheriff's deputies took a report of a residential burglary where a red 2011 Polaris Ranger 800 ATV, a blue Cobalt air compressor, orange Echo weed eater, and an orange Stihl 18-inch chainsaw, I'm assuming. Okay, I'm hoping that's what that is. It was stolen from a garage of a residence on Ridge Circle in Quitman. The suspect vehicle, believed to be a white Chevy Avalanche with unknown registration, occupied by an unidentified white male and white female. The male subject was seen driving away in the ATV, and the female drove away in the Avalanche. They were last seen westbound on Cove Creek Road. The total loss estimated to be a $10,000 theft, and the sheriff's office needs to know more. If you have any information out there, maybe you saw a white Avalanche driving with an ATV behind it, that might stick in your mind. If you have any info, contact Detective Angelo Aldretti at the sheriff's office at 501 362-8143. You can submit anonymous tips online at the tips hotline at the CleburneCountySheriff.com. That's actually not the on that, so I'll correct myself there. CleburneCountySheriff.com is where they're looking for more tips on that. That is late breaking just this afternoon, trying to find burglary suspects. Nobody wants to deal with having their things stolen from them, to say the least. Let's take one final look at your weather forecast before we wrap things up today, as we're watching right now several different things in the forecast that are worth talking about. We're first up looking for another night of freezing temperatures tonight. The temperature's down to 19 degrees tonight, but you'll wish it felt like 19 for the wind chill. Really, any wind gusts are going to make that feel absolutely frigid. And then tomorrow, it's not going to be a whole lot better, to be honest with you. Wish we could tell you some better news there, but yeah, it's bad. 37 for the high, 18 for the low, and then Saturday, 32 for the high. Thankfully, on Sunday, it's set to warm up a little bit. But we're also looking for a possibility of freezing rain on most of Sunday and lasting early into Monday as well. That freezing rain is hopefully not going to hang on or latch on to any power lines and pull those and weigh them down. I mean, but again, you look at a freezing rain scenario, and the first thing you start to think about are some of the different some of the different ice storms that we've experienced here in northeast Arkansas before. I think back to 2008, where I can just remember everything was covered, no power downtown. It was a wild time. I was at Channel 8, a very young reporter. Well, I wasn't a reporter. I was a producer at Channel 8 at the time. And I'll never forget there were people sleeping on the floor for this ice storm. People had come in from every Raycom media station across the nation, their big television group. And people had come in from all across to sleep there. And you would see people in cots on the hallways there where we had worked. I mean, it was just so bizarre. An absolutely wild time. We hope that this weekend we don't see any freezing conditions that would be anywhere near that 2008 ice storm. I mean, I'm not saying that we are, but anytime you see freezing rain, your eyebrows raise, especially when the temperatures are, in the teens. It could be rough. So we'll watch that closely. Thanks, everybody, for watching us today here on NEA Report. We will be back with more news as it breaks out, and we'll keep you up to date here on Northeast Arkansas's source for news online. Thanks, everybody, and please like and share this video if you like what we're doing around here. It helps us to get the news out to more people. Also, say hey to James, because he did such an incredible job producing the show today. Oh, he loved that.
Shucks.
Thank you. All right. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. See you tomorrow, unless breaking news changes everything.